It is July 23rd, 2018. This is Atlanta United FC Weekly, a Home Before Dark podcast.
How you've grown.
What do you mean?
You were just a little baby when I saw your picture this morning.
Yeah, that was one of the more disturbing things I saw today. And I perused the internet quite a bit. No, I'll take that back. That was I think it caught a lot of people off guard.
That's slowly become my favorite thing to do now.
Yeah.
Is the cut faces out, put them on.
put people on it. Yeah. I don't know. It's fun. I know every day that I don't know if you can keep it up every day. I don't think there are enough Tims out there.
I've heard that before.
Okay. Oh, that's fine.
They were right.
Yeah. No, priapism's not fun. Anyway, welcome to Atlanta United FC Weekly. I am Tim. As always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Mr. Kevin Bradley.
Yes, sir.
Switching it up, switched up the camera, switched up the desk. I like it. I like being able to see you and not having to to turn and
I like it because you're out of arm's reach, that you can't just do this to me the entire time I'm talking.
I can't fiddle with it the entire time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, the little notification bell, and also hit the thumbs up so other people, it starts trending and people come in and start chatting with us in the trap. And if you guys are listening to us on iTunes, Apple Podcast, or on Stitcher, please make sure that you leave a rating and or a review, and we will read it out. We'll read them out at the end of the show.
Let's start doing it at the beginning, because we got results doing it at the beginning. So that's what the people want. That's what the people are going to hear.
Yeah. I like what Brian says. Smash that like button. It says hashtag vote Parkhurst.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. We got Kevin Brown, Kevin Gorham. We got all the Kevins in here. Elliot Beaven, Richard Gordon, and then Tony Neitzel. Thank you for Tony's in Portland. He's in Timbers country.
Oh, very cool.
So he tunes in every Monday night,
and Kevin Brown's stuck in an airport apparently in Las Vegas of all places.
Yeah, Brittany S. Thank you for joining us as always. I don't know if has she ever missed a show. I love it.
Brittany S. may not have missed a show, which is crazy. We need to do some sort of I keep talking about doing a fan appreciation thing, like a giveaway every show. I need to just do it eventually, but who's got the time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we managed to put this together. That's our fan appreciation
somehow,
show, and our fan appreciation.
John Smith, very, very generic name, but thank you for joining us. I don't know if that's a pseudonym. If not, I apologize. Anyway, saying hashtag vote Parkhurst.
Okay, so we did get 3 new reviews this week, so thank you guys for that. The first one, Go Five Stripes, by all the nicknames are taken, so fuck it. 5 stars. Simply put, great podcast.
Yeah. This next one kind of hits close to home, and it makes me feel really good about what we're doing.
This is what it's all about.
This is, you know how we say...
Now, the real challenge is to get the 1 stars to convert, which you have inflamed.
Yeah, no.
A growth.
Anyway, we always say if you guys aren't going to leave us 5 stars on iTunes, make sure that you leave us some constructive feedback so that we can improve upon the product. And if
right.
That is, if we are to your liking, sometimes it's just an oil and water situation.
That's it.
Anyway, we have Nick Lamphere, who left us a 3-star review back. I don't know what it says anymore, the original review, but he went back, upped it to 5 stars. The update, or it says the title is Hit or Miss Update. 5 stars. These guys rock. 5 stripes for life. Hashtag Unite and Conquer. So that's
5 stripes and 5 stars. I love it.
Yeah, that makes me feel really good about it. So.
And then the last one, Love the Podcast, by Arsenal Ox, 5 stars. I'm relatively new to soccer. My son has gotten me hooked on the sport. I really appreciate this podcast because the guys provide information about the past ATL game and preview upcoming games. I'm learning more each game and learning what to watch for in the games. Look forward to it each week.
I like it.
Thanks, Arsenal.
Appreciate it. Yeah. And if you guys want to have your review read on the show, make sure you guys leave it on iTunes and or Apple Podcasts or Stitcher.
Housekeeping, check out gethomebeforedark.com/all the things for Fantasy League, which no one's going to catch Jacob Beverton.
I'm going to be the nice guy this week. John F. Beasy, still dominating. I think
is Kevin Gorham out of the lead or out of even the running? He was up there for a while.
I'm about to pull it up real quick.
Kevin Gorham's in the trap, so I feel like I need to.
Yeah, it is good to see them. I was disappointed. I saw
homie Greg out at the pool yesterday.
Yeah, and I saw him the day before. Yeah.
What up, ATL Greg?
It was good. It was good seeing ATL.
So we
Greg.
had to bounce over to Kiddie Pool. You know how it goes.
Yeah. The all right, I'll read the league real quick just because I finished 32nd this week. I'm in 56th now. I'm climbing. I'm climbing.
Wait, where am I at now?
I don't know. So number 1, obviously, Stats and Trends, John F. Beasy. Claremont Lounge FC, Where Dreams Are Made, Adam Lewis is number 2. Varvar Binks, Kevin Gorham, the aforementioned Kevin Gorham, in 3rd place. Fats and Mighty Reds, Adbjorn Alstad, I think is how you pronounce that name. And then Dog for him, David Benson in 5th. Kevin, what is your name on here? It's like My Home Before Dark.
My Home Before Dark Twisted Fantasy. Shouts to Yeezy.
I'm catching you.
I might have to start playing again.
I'm catching you right now. Where am I at?
Where am I? You said you were 56th.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It doesn't show you whenever you scroll through the list because you're anchored at the top. Yeah. You're in 51st.
Oh, no.
I'm going to catch him.
Oh,
guys, I'm going to
no.
catch him. It's going to happen.
Oh, no. I can't let that happen.
Yeah. Elliot Beaven, ask how everybody's doing. How are you guys doing tonight? Let us know in the trap. How you guys feeling after that 3-1, 3/4 of a game thrashing of DC United?
Yeah, it was great. That said, right into the show. I feel like we need a little.
Everybody's got segments now. I don't know. We don't have enough segments.
I know. I don't need segments. I just need little breaks. It doesn't have to have like a title and introduction to it, but just something to break in between one thing to the next. You know, just a little 5-second Mega Man X 8-bit style. Just hit it. Just smash that button.
Do we need new intro music? I think we might. I see 20 plus of you watching. I only see 5 thumbs up. You better hit that thumbs up button.
All right. Anyway, starting 11 comes out. Biggest news of the week, I would say, is that we get notification an hour leading up to the match. No information prior to, no even whispers of the fact that not only is Barco out and his replacement being Andrew Carlton, that he has a multi-game suspension, and we find out when the starting lineup comes out before the DC game.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff swirling around. I actually take that back. I think that's kind of a bad generality. There was one thing swirling around right before the game, courtesy of Atlanta United Fan TV, saying that he couldn't disclose a source. Whoever was tweeting that, I know they have multiple people, AJ and Tanner and them over there. The rumor was that he was suspended due to conduct detrimental to the team or violating team rules, whatever it is.
I heard it was arson.
Arsene Wenger?
No, he was like for actual arson, just lighting stuff on fire.
Oh, I wouldn't blame him for that.
Just kidding. I just want to start ridiculous rumors.
No, so that's the rumor that got started. And then 92.9 tweeted out from that they got confirmation from Atlanta United saying that he didn't get suspended, that it was just he was sitting out for the game. So there's a lot of confusion going on back and forth. A lot of stuff going on, even to the point where Robert Usry is kind of like implying maybe he's getting transferred. If he's not suspended, no announcement, it's the summer transfer window. And then so that started planting a seed of doubt in everybody's head. But then comes out after the match, Tata said that
it's not soccer related. I think that was his exact quote.
Off the field issues, team violations.
What do you think it is? Let's speculate realistically. It's not arson. What do you
realistically
think it is?
Do you think it's common knowledge about the whole Instagram thing?
I mean, if it's not, you'll hear it here first. I don't see any reason why we should hold back.
No, I'm not. I feel like we said too much.
If you're a female and you are still following Barco and not blocked, you're one of the lucky few, because I don't know many females that follow Barco that don't get blocked, and there are rumors that there are other hands at play on his social media account and maybe controlling his invested interest outside of things.
Single women on Instagram, if you most likely are being blocked by Barco. At least there was a time frame where this was going on, I guess I should say.
Is it a relationship issue? Is what we're boiling this down to.
I think we can even roll that back to a more generic statement that this is a maturity issue.
Yes.
That there's something where I don't know. That
I think we've all been there.
Yes. Either he got too big for his britches at one point, whether that's at practice, not showing up at training. Actually, I don't know if anybody is aware. anybody who goes to training on a regular basis. I mean, between Doug Robertson and the guys at Dirty South Soccer who attend training on a regular basis. Was he missing at any training sessions? I don't know, but it sounds.
I think that is. I think that is the most believable thing. Brittany Est even mentions it, not going to training. I think that makes the most sense, is that he's not going to training. The reason that I want to know is why. Has it become an ego thing? Is it some sort of there was some talk about it potentially being, what was Mills saying last night about the Argentinian U20 or something like that?
Yes, there is something to again, I don't know if it's it seems like an unsubstantiated rumor at this point that we held him back from going to play with the U20 Argentina team.
Yeah. I don't know that that's necessarily, I legitimately think it is an issue that comes down to immaturity, not showing up to practice for whatever reason it may be, whether it's ego or otherwise. All that said, it's a maturity problem, regardless of what the reasoning is in his mind. And I think it was dealt with in a very mature way, in a way that you need to do so. And quite frankly, the way that I wish more coaches in college football would deal with kids is that you need to instill in these kids, which Barco very much still is, that regardless of what your price tag, contract, or skills may be, no position is guaranteed because of that in the name on the back of your jersey.
No, I love that. I love that. Absolutely. There are a couple things coming into the chat. As you
didn't do this, just saying, is what Alex Brotherton says.
Kevin Gorham said, color me shocked that a guy who got married at 18 might be having some relationship drama. Kevin Brown, he said, nobody's broken a rule before. He said, what did he do? I mean, to the point where it's been a year and a half and nobody has violated a rule bad enough for Tata to say enough.
Yeah. So that said, I wonder where the line is for something like that.
Hot takes,
I wonder where the line is for something like that. Is it one practice? Is it two practices? Where's it come from that if that's the case?
My thought is it's absolutely one practice without reason or without excuse or something like that. We do have something a kind of off the topic, just real quick to get to. Happiest of Joe's asking, why the Tim Kevin face off for the podcast tonight? Ooh, maybe that's a good
face off. Yeah, that's going to be the subject of the next Instagram post.
Yeah.
I'm going to put, who do you want to be, Travolta or Cage?
Oh, always Nick Cage. I don't frequent enough massage parlors to be John Travolta.
I live close enough to Buford Highway. I'll take it.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know what's going on. I hope it gets resolved. There's a minimum of 2 games that he's going to serve internally.
It is confirmed that he will be out this weekend.
Yes. Is there any confirmation that it will end this weekend?
There is no confirmation one way or the other.
Because the last I heard, it was minimum.
I believe Tata said that he needs to earn his position back on the team, was what his exact words were.
And we're getting Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith comparisons. I like it. Alex Brotherton said, I like the face-off thing.
What you talking about, Tim? You sitting over there talking about Barco just missing practices, Tim? Come on.
I don't even know how to do a Skip Bayless impression. And that was a terrible Stephen A. Smith impression. Me and Barco were like this. I don't remember who does that impression on. Maybe it was Jay Farrell on SNL when he would get so into that Stephen A. impression. It was amazing. Whenever he was talking about the Miami Heat, just talking about Mario Chalmers should not be allowed to have arms in the fourth quarter. That shit. It's fantastic. Keith Filer in here.
Okay. So Barco out indefinitely. Hopefully we see him back next week. If not, that brings up the next point of discussion, which is that Andrew Carleton did start.
Yes. The positive here. It's something #PlayYourKids that at least I've been wanting for a while. And it's Andrew Carleton. Whenever they were doing the lineup announcements, Andrew Carleton, from Powder Springs,
Yeah.
Andrew Carleton, and the whole crowd erupts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely erupts, and it was fantastic. I'm sure it did wonders for that kid's confidence.
I think one of the best things or moments that came out of Andrew Carleton starting, aside from his performance, which we'll talk about more, but his locker room interview where they asked him about how it felt in his first MLS career start to be playing against Wayne Rooney and everything. Did you see that in his response?
Yeah, he was happy to play against Chris Durkin.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, it was cool and all, but playing against Durkin was probably a bigger highlight for me, which is, I mean, that says a lot about him.
Yeah. Kevin Brown says, I'm hoping it fires the Barco and Carleton competition, push these young kids to play their best. That's the thing a lot of people forget about. Barco did have that high price tag. Andrew Carleton's been in our system since our inception, and they're the same age, right? Carleton's younger at this point. Is he a year younger?
I believe so. I believe that's right.
I mean, it is a legitimate comparison. It is a legitimate argument that, especially after this weekend, that Barco has some competition for his spot.
Yes.
And it's great for the team. I
mean, so let's think, is there any position right now? We talk about the depth pretty regularly. Is there any position where any player can feel entitled? And I think that we can honestly say that there's not right now, because
Joseph Martinez.
Yes.
So
you don't think there's anything that Joseph can do that he's not going to have?
Joseph can have 5 bad games. He can have 5 scoreless games. There's no chance that there's even rumblings of Romario Williams taking over his spot.
I meant ego-wise, or a way that compromises his position on the team to where Tata or the front office says, whatever you want, Joseph, we're gonna.
Oh, no.
That's what I mean.
No. Okay.
I agree. Like, there's no.
There's nobody that we've paid this amount they have to play. We talked about that a lot last year between Kenwin Jones, Chris McCann even.
Right.
Chris McCann ended up earning his spot in the rotation. And then you talked about
I felt like Barco was sort of the one missing link where we hadn't really seen somebody over on left wing that was really competent or doing much outside of Carleton substitutions here.
You mean this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, this year.
I was going to say, Yamil Assad last year.
No, I meant this year.
Yeah.
So, we knew Carleton was available, but we hadn't really seen any large amount of playtime out of him. But every other position across the team, it's almost like Barco provides the backup competition for Miggy in a lot of ways, but you've seen Gressel play that position. Right wing between Gressel and Tito. You're right. I think Joseph and Guzan are probably the most that, even Guzan, you have Alacan in the wings if you absolutely need to, but you don't see them being those sort of diva players. If I had to say one versus the other, it probably would be Martinez, but I think that he wants to play so much he wouldn't let something compromise his availability to play on the team.
Yeah, his ego is and I use ego in the philosophical sense that it's there, right? I mean, you have I think it's 1-to-1. It's neck and neck with his merit. Right?
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's anything where he is above where he's actually at performance-wise, what he's done historically for the team. And it's actually, I mean, we'll talk later about Joseph, but I mean, I know that I was critical of him earlier on in this year. I can't believe he's endeared himself this much to me at this point.
I hope that, talking about the Barco stuff, I hope that these guys are really, whatever it is with Barco, I know that Tata has a certain role that he plays in this from a coaching standpoint, but I hope that just as much as we hope these veteran players act as a mentor role for Barco, I think that goes without saying that role takes place off the field as well, and that these guys are having sidebar conversations with him and telling him, you need to get your shit together, whatever it may be.
No, I think that's going to be coming from, and we speculated on this last year whenever we saw the decline of the antics from Yamil Assad. It was, I think there's a locker room behind him of the coaching staff and of veteran players, be it Parkhurst, LGP, Jeff Lorenowitz, and then even the younger guys. I mean, people forget, I think Joseph's 24, 25 years old. Miggy's still in that range too.
Yeah.
I mean, we look at these guys as if I look at Joseph, I'm like, that guy's like a grown ass man that I look at him and I'm thinking he's older than I am, but he's like 7 years my junior. And I think that the structure is such that Barco is not going to have to worry about getting too big for his britches if he wants to play.
Yeah.
I think that we see this happen. And we saw it with Kyle Laren to an extent last year. Granted, he had played a lot longer for Orlando than did Barco for us. to that point, where they were sitting out, where he was, I mean, essentially forcing his move, being a diva. And you see that all over MLS. You see it all over England, especially over in England and Spain. And you can see it, like, if that structure's not there, you don't have the veterans to sit and kind of talk sense into that young guy. You can see it kind of spin out of control.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to happen here.
No,
I think we have such a good core and such a good atmosphere and chemistry around these players. I don't think they're going to let one guy who they're trying to bring into that fold wholeheartedly in Barco. I don't think they're going to let that either ruin their chemistry, and they're not going to let that kid waste all that talent.
So to that point, who gains more and who loses more out of Barco and Carleton out of these next few weeks?
That's interesting.
Because yes, Carleton's going to get play time, and if he plays as well as he did this past week, it's going to be great, and I'm really looking forward to it. But do we see that being a viable 2-week, 3-week run to where it completely writes Barco out of the lineup entirely? I don't believe that.
I don't
so
think
who wins more and who loses more?
I don't think so either. I think Carleton. I think Carleton wins more out of this than Barco loses.
Mm-hmm.
Because, excuse me, I think what you may be seeing right now is the priming of what's bound to happen next year, where Barco is going to slot in where Miggy is, and where Carleton is going to go play on the left. You know, with the likes of West Ham and Newcastle calling, it seems like Almiron's probably on his way out in the winter.
I will say, yeah, the winter, yes, I could see that. But that's another quote that we saw come out of this week, that there's been a full approach to maintaining the relationship between Atlanta United and Martinez and Miggy specifically. Those players were called out as wanting to continue those contracts and those relationships throughout this year, which is a sigh of relief going into, which is now it's active right now, right? The trade window is open right now.
Yes. Yeah. It's until August 31st at 11 p.m. GMT. I think is whenever it ends. But you're right. I mean, that's kind of the good part of the way the MLS schedule is structured, because it makes teams a lot less likely to sell in the summer during that window, because we're on a title run.
Right.
We don't want to get rid of.
This is where I think Carleton wins more out of this scenario. Not so much in the short run, but in the long run, speaking to the title run scenario, where 2 weeks ago we sat on the show and talked about what do we do in that last run of games where we've got a chance to secure Supporter Shield. We are at the top of the board. We can rest players, but we want to make sure that it's a strategic resting of players and bringing in new players and new faces. And I think that Carleton wins more in that scenario, because he's shown that there's no apparent drop off in quality in bringing him in over Barco, even if we are still vying for the Supporter Shield, but we still want to sub somebody out. You know, we can do that and still be competitive.
Yeah, it adds an incredible another notch of depth that we have. I mean, we have a viable substitution at every single position on the field at this point.
Yeah.
And that was made apparent also by another debut that happened on Saturday, Eric Remedi.
Yeah. That was such a fun game. I mean, all overall, the Carleton start, Remedi coming in, Wayne Rooney playing, Wayne Rooney not really playing because he had the worst player index out of everybody.
Talking about Mickey Rooney?
What?
Talking about Mickey Rooney?
No. Who are you talking about, Mickey Rooney?
You don't know who Mickey Rooney is?
No.
Damn it. It was wasted on you.
Is that another fucking EPL reference?
No, he's like a 90-year-old comedian. He's short and bald and... Never mind.
What?
You don't know who Mickey Rooney is.
He's talking about that guy from Sin City?
Not a comedian, sorry. He was a child actor.
You're talking about that guy from Sin City?
No. That's Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke. Yeah. You're talking about him, right?
God. Completely wasted. Thank you, Keith. Somebody gets my humor. This guy, I'm Mickey Rooney. You don't know who I'm talking about? He was on like these, not diabetes commercials, but like emergency life alert commercials or something.
Oh, it's the Blazing Saddles guy.
Was he in Blazing Saddles?
No.
That's Mel Brooks. I quit. Andy Rooney.
Okay.
Andy Rooney from 60 Minutes.
That's definitely.
Was he 60 Minutes?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I like that even better.
Okay, yes. Fun fucking game. All the storylines, all the build up. Remedi comes in. Okay, we gotta get some sort of organization here. Before we get to Remedi, we gotta finish talking about Carleton. We talked about the Barco side of this, but we haven't talked about Carleton's performance during the game.
Okay.
Thoughts on performance?
I thought he did well. I think that there was obvious points in the game where he was trying to do too much. I don't think he caused us any harm by doing that. I think that there were a couple opportunities where maybe the trust wasn't instilled in the other players, where Miguel Almiron was not quick to pass him the ball, when he was hesitant to pass him the ball, or where distribution to Carleton didn't seem as
reticent as it is with Barco in.
Correct.
But the opposite I saw was, whereas Almiron and Barco tend to get in each other's way sometimes because they play very similarly, and then it's almost like Almiron favors him more as sort of a supervising role. He kind of just let Carleton play in space, and whether that was Almiron not playing that same role that he does with Barco or Carleton just approaching the position differently, I did notice that they weren't sort of getting in each other's way and getting congested over at the top of the left side of the field.
Yeah. Well, Brian brings up a point. He says, remember minute 33 of last game? That's a savant type reference. Miggy stole it off Nuhu and completely ignored Barco. That's another talking point that maybe we can get into, where, some of the decision making is lacking yet again.
Yeah, but at the same time, if Miggy makes a play by not doing so, nobody says that. It's a revisionist history sort of argument.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that Carleton did well. He was not hesitant whatsoever to shoot.
He had a key role in 2 of the 3 goals that were scored.
True.
One of which comes off of a hockey assist that gets a deflection.
Which really sucks that it made that deflection, because it was going to get to Joseph probably anyway.
Yeah. And then the second, he distributes the ball over to Miggy, who then passes it off to Tito to set up the second goal.
Yeah.
Third goal, getting off of Carleton now. Holy shit, the composure out of Martinez for that third goal.
Well, yeah. I mean, to chase the ball down 1, to be able to magnet feet it off of, I don't know who that was. But to
know that he has not just the time, but the space to take that additional touch to play the keeper and then put it on frame was just so many times you see players in that exact same situation and they just, their eyes get big and they just take a shot on goal instantly. And so to see him kind of slow down and take control over the possession,
his composure has been something
amazing.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal the past few months. I mean, you think about the PKs that he's taken. He's been very calm, very precise in the way he's been taking those lately.
I will say, and I think that's what Happiest of Joe's is alluding to, especially after that deflection, because he gets the ball off of his own deflection that comes. It's kind of like there was another goal that he had earlier this season where Miggy passed him the ball and he had a weird like back heel flick to Miggy that was unintentional, but he had a similar sort of deflection that ended up setting up a different goal. But yeah, for him to stay focused, recover the ball, and then put it on frame after juking the keep was great.
Yeah. No, I thought that was fantastic. So again, Carleton was not hesitant to shoot, as we've seen out of Barco. He's a little more confident in his shot, albeit all 3 shots that I think he took, all 3 of them went to Osted. But I mean, they were on frame. I mean,
right.
A couple of it, I think 2 of them probably weren't. They were kind of afterthought shots.
Hey, at least they were on frame. When was the last time you saw Miggy take a shot that was on frame?
That's a good question. The last time he scored, probably.
It's been a while, and that was probably off of a PK, because 6 of his 8 are PKs, I think, something ridiculous like that.
That can't be right, right?
What, Miggy's 6?
Yeah.
I think at least 4 of them are PKs.
That can't be right. I don't believe you.
I'd say over under on half. What's over on half of Miggy's goals being on PK's trap? I'm gonna say half.
Happiest of Joe says June was the last time he scored. Yeah.
So how many of them are PKs? June. How many are PKs, Tim? Find it. Come on, man. What are you doing? Somebody else find it.
All right. Let's see how the search engine on whoscored.com goes, and then we'll pull it up.
Because he's still got 8 goals, right? Because we looked at that last week.
What did you set the over-under on?
I'm going to say 4.
Well, you got to set it at a half.
At 3.5, I'm taking over.
Okay. Shit, it's not giving
goals that came from PKs.
It's giving me penalties for some reason on here.
That's dumb. That's dumb.
Oh well.
You guys figure it out. Let us know. All right. So yeah, but when was the last time you saw Miggy put a ball on frame, much less goal?
It's been
score.
A goal. It's that type
Skull. I gotta get a little. Get a wad going. Give me a wad.
You know I want to dip. Copenhagen long cut wintergreens. That's a man's dip right there. Copenhagen's. Skull comes in those pouches.
Does it? No, I think it still comes in a can.
Keep the skull. All right.
Keep the skull.
Oh, God. So good. Kevin Gorham says Kodiak. Okay, for those of you guys dipping out there, what's your dip of choice? I prefer chaw. I like Red Man.
We're going to start up like, what was that YouTube show? The epic meal times, just all dip. You just gotta go dip.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah, to Tony Nigel's point, he says he's just launching those shots into space so that they hit the back of the net next week.
Just terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible shots.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, Brittany S is asking if Joseph is he going to break the goal record. Yeah, I agree. Greg Jackson in the trap with us.
He only needs 6 more to break the record.
Saying,
right?
Yeah. He said, absolutely. Brittany S 7 goals away.
7. So he needs 7 in 12 games, right?
He could have that by September.
Jesus, 7 goals in 12 games. He could have that.
Yeah. What was the other crazy stat that Jimmy posted something to like? Yeah, it was he scored in the last 5 games.
Yeah. It's starting to remedy some of the holes I was trying to poke into his stat just a couple months ago, where so much, I think it was whenever he was sitting at 13, that he was at 13, but 6 or 7 of them were PKs. And I was mentioning how
even whenever it's half, man, that's still not bad for a striker.
No, I get that.
Yeah, I mean that's how Nikolic ended up getting his golden boot last year. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I think I was listening to Unrelegated. If you guys have not listened to this week, or if you guys are not subscribed, go check out Unrelegated by Jay Riddle, Kelly Francis. They are on the Home Before Dark network. They were talking about some stats. One of which was I think it was a quarter of Joseph goals have been on headers.
Oh yeah, most in the league.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Yeah. I mean, that's what we talk about. That's what's a little.
And he's 5'6".
You know, that's honestly, it's a little frustrating about those games where we have 35 crosses into the box and we don't score, or that we score 1 goal. Is that we have a guy that's obviously a huge aerial threat, but I don't know. We have.
I'm still disappointed that nobody's found out how many
PKs.
Yeah,
that Joseph or
that Miguel's had.
Yeah, that Miguel's had. Well,
it's really frustrating to me.
Yeah, I'm disappointed.
Can you guys get that, please?
I'm disappointed.
Okay, so any other thoughts about Martinez? I think he gets the record this year. Agree? Disagree?
Yeah, the way things are going, I absolutely think he's going to get the record. I can't remember who made the point earlier. I think it's Kevin Brown was saying that Carlton's distribution is better to Joseph than.
What is that? 5 successful. 5 PKs for Joseph. Okay.
No, or was it Joseph or Almiron?
5 for Joseph. So we're talking about Miggy. How many did Miggy have? How many PKs has Miggy had this season?
4.
5 for Almiron. I got it. Told you. 5 of his 8 on PKs.
5. Okay, it is for Almiron. Okay.
5.
You got me, Stephen A. Smith.
What did I say?
Yeah,
his last one on frame was probably a PK, which made up for 3/4 of his 5 career. Oh, you guys are just the worst now.
So this is another. Okay, so to Kevin Brown's point, he's saying Carlton feeds Martinez a lot better than Barco. Agree, disagree?
Carlton feeds Martinez a lot better than Barco. I would tend to Disagree.
And Happy Steve Joe says it's 4, and it's 5 career from Miggy.
So 4. So I still win. I
Yeah.
set it at 3.5. I took the over.
I like this. Greg saying ass a 9, ass a 10, ass at 11, or ass 11. Hashtag Stephen A. I need more of those. Okay, we have.
I disagree. I do not think that Carlton feeds Joseph better than Barco. I think Barco is a better distributor based on his ability to play the ball in space and the limited amount of data that we have on Carlton at this point. I don't want to say with one game that he is the best left winger that Atlanta's played in 2 seasons. I think
that's definitely not what we're getting at here. And we're not going to make those jump to conclusions or those crazy assertions there. But we got a couple things in here. I mean, Tony saying he agrees. Michelle disagrees. Derek Rushing agrees. Let's see. Brittany S agrees. Keith going overboard. I like it, saying that Carlton's assist was the assist of the year, or his cross was the assist
ridiculous.
of the year. I like it. Oh yeah, that's true. Kevin Brown did say, he's right. This wasn't Carlton's first assist. He had an assist months back to Joseph inside the bench. Right.
Over Carlton, at least with the limited amount that we've seen Carlton, is his one-on-one taking on multiple defenders with the ball at his feet play style. I haven't seen enough out of Carlton yet. I
like how direct he is as opposed to Barco. I think that he goes at defenses better, and it doesn't lend itself to that same situation you're talking about where there's a logjam on the left side whenever he and Miggy start kind of getting their cleats tied together. And you saw that where there was back heels and overlapping that were going on between Almiron and Carlton whenever they were weaving in and out there. And you can also see probably more through balls being played to Joseph. And just, I think that honestly, it's weird because we talked to Jason before the season started, Longshore, when he was talking about how Barco is a 10 and more of a natural 10. And I see his tendencies, at least in this team, because he's playing on the left wing. I don't see that coming out a ton. You see him venture out to the side a little bit to dribble, but I see Carlton, he seemed to go central a little more than he did stay on the left wing.
Yeah, I can agree with that. So Carlton, great game. Martinez definitely going to get the record this season. Miggy continues to frustrate me, not putting a ball on frame. Somebody said earlier, I have noticed him play the ball off of his right foot a little bit more recently, and it's not been as jarringly terrible. Whenever he does. Yeah. But his inability to put a shot on frame is getting a little bit ridiculous because it's not even close.
Yeah, it does end up being like a detriment to the team.
It really does.
At a certain point
because it completely stops momentum at that point. So, and his job as the 10 is to know when it's the right time to do so. And if you're going to do so, to at least put, I'm not asking for 100% of them to be on frame, but even 20%. I don't think he's even hitting that number right now.
No, I don't think so either. It has been a little jarring to bring that word back up and to use it for that. I mean, you can tell he is like just dying to score a goal.
Yeah.
Like he's just forcing it and forcing it and forcing it.
Right.
And there are times definitely where he's playing it into bad angles to take. It's not like some of the shots were coming from the center whenever he was he would play the ball kind of far out in front of him and he would take a shot. But those ended up in the
consistently bad angles, like those tight left corner angles.
His hold up play needs to be a little better there.
Yeah.
I think that he needs to be able to find a little bit more space, peel out, let people come and give him some sort of reinforcement there and be able to play that back in.
Right.
Because it's not like he's lacking in option. He's not the only person that can either shoot or pass in that situation. Right. He needs if he holds up, you can have McCann, who I thought had another solid performance, right?
Yeah, I felt like we didn't lean on McCann as much to make as many big plays as we felt. At least I personally felt like was lacking in the game last week, where I felt like McCann's rust showed more so last week because he was forced in positions to where it was noticeably worse. Also, I feel like most of people's attention this week was on Carlton, Remedi, Martinez, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
So
sorry, getting caught up looking at that. I was about to look at real quick positional stuff. Anyway, keep going.
So Remedi comes in, gets
Yes.
a pretty early substitution, right? Wasn't it in like the 75th or something like that?
Yeah,
I felt like
hold on. It was like 60. It was
pretty, early.
Yeah, it was a lot earlier than I was expecting for that to happen.
It
was the 77th minute.
I get so wrapped up in the game in the stadium that I feel like I miss 30, 40, 50% of the game half of the time.
Yeah.
So for everything that I saw out of Remedi, I didn't see anything that noticeably stood out, and I didn't see anything obviously that was a detriment, but that he was play ready and came on as a great substitution.
I think one of the things that stuck out to me is all the talk has been about him being a replacement for Jeff Larentowicz.
Yeah.
Him supplanting him, becoming that number 6 next year. What I'm finding is he's more competition for Nagbe because we saw him get forward.
Yeah.
He's got some quickness and keep the ball at his feet. And he kind of just, it's that Nagbe quality where he kind of sucks the ball in and kind of takes the air out of the game of play, or the run of play to, I don't know. He takes control. Like I saw little glimpses of that. I know we only saw him for 15 minutes, whatever it was, like 17 minutes. And or not. I just think that his qualities may be better suited for a number 8 role. I don't know. It's too early to tell. Obviously,
I agree. It's kind of a similar situation with Carlton when you've got even less because it's a portion of the game.
Yeah, I mean, Greg, that's the point I was about to get at. Is he seems to play more like Carmona.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he's got a body type more so for that role as well.
Yeah.
That's just a powerhouse in the midfield that players are going to be intimidated to see him running at them defensively as much as they would offensively.
I mean, what say you? I mean,
because what do you think?
Two number 8s or an 8 and a 6?
Which was more intimidating? If we're going to make the Carmona discussion, what was a more intimidating role for Carmona in possession? Was it if you have the ball and Carmona's charging at you, or the other way around where Carmona is charging at you with the ball?
The other way around. I mean, it was more of whenever you were in possession and Carmona was coming.
And I think that's the comparison to Carmona, is that he is an intimidating force in the midfield more so than, at least just in the minor little bits and pieces that I've seen, and he can distribute the long ball really. The left wing, right wing, or even straight up the middle of Martinez. His vision was really well done.
Oh, like Alex Niven saying thick fielder with 2 C's.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
He wasn't as big as I thought he was going to be. He definitely seemed like he didn't seem as stocky to me.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely small, like shorter. So he's got a bigger or lower center of gravity. Is going to be harder to push over. And again, Greg blowing up the chat with great info or great thoughts. He said you can play Remedi if you need a more defensive 11 and Nagbe if you want to attack.
And I feel like that's where this team has been lacking, is that there
are no options to change tempo in the midfield.
Our approach has always been strictly offensive or defensive, where we saw that against Dallas, where rather than shoring up the midfield with a defensive midfield role, which we had that ability to last year, this year it's, all right, we'll bring in another defender and we'll go to a 5-back. 2 weeks ago against whoever it was it who do we play last week? I've already forgot.
Was it Philly?
Was it Philly? Yeah. Whenever we subbed in Vasquez to go on the attack early on, or was it Romario? Anyway, we put in an extra striker early on as a substitution because we wanted more attack. Now we can remedy that in the midfield where it should be.
Oh my God. Remedy that. And
he's the ultimate remedy for.
Sorry, we played Seattle.
Team.
What am I thinking? God, I'm an
Seattle,
idiot. Yeah, we played Seattle.
We need a remedy in the midfield, and
I think our new theme song is the hit from 1999 by Jason Mraz, "The Remedy."
I'm glad you pulled that reference because
I think it's from 1999.
Killing it today.
It's from middle school.
Killing it today.
Yeah, killing it. Everybody's saying no. Oh, Brian is saying Black Crows. No. Anyway, to your point, last year, whenever we did have situations where I think Larentowicz had accumulation or Carmona got hurt or vice versa. Whenever either of them were out.
Let's be honest, it was more likely that Carmona had accumulation than the other way around.
Yeah. The games that we saw were like, okay, we got to put Kratz in. Right. And no matter what,
Kratz is always going to be more offensive.
See, I had this argument with Jay a couple weeks ago whenever we were out at the Elder Tree tailgate, whenever we were recording, whenever he was saying that he's like, I don't know where you get this from, that he's an attacking, like he plays more attack.
Oh, but did he not go back and listen to that episode the week prior whenever him and Kelly were on here and he made that same argument, and then Kratz goes out and plays attacking and we get exposed on defense?
Yep. Yeah, and he deflects the ball on defense back to the opposing team. No, but you're right. Like going back to that, we have the ability to switch up without switching formation now. Right. We can change tempo, we can change the intent or the style of play without having to completely warp the field in our attempt to do so. So, but Remedi, I thought he played well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to more.
Yeah, absolutely. He looked very comfortable out there.
So the question is he strictly a substitution player?
I don't know. It depends. I thought Gressel played all right this past week.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any complaints about his play. I think this weekend gave Tata Martino a huge problem and a good problem to have, and multiple problems, I guess.
Because he's got players that he knew he was going to have to make decisions on, and players that he didn't plan on having to have a discussion about, whether it's the Barco Carlton scenario or a Remedi Jeff situation. Do we know a timeline on Nagbe? I know it's going to be towards the end of the season.
It was 2 to 3 months whenever it was supposed to.
And Garza's confirmed done for the season, right?
I don't know about that.
I mean, he doesn't have a cast on or anything, and he's walking around. He's holding his kindergartner on his left shoulder, and I'm like, dude, you gotta stop. You can't put weight on that shoulder. Yeah. So I don't know if and when we get some of these people back.
It's great again that we have these problems, because you have to worry about Remedi coming in and taking your spot if you're Gressel or if you're Jeff Lorenowitz.
Yeah.
You have to worry about Gressel taking your spot if you're Tito. You have to worry about Tito taking your spot if you're Gressel. If like all those things kind of play themselves out. If people like
back to what we were talking about at the beginning.
It's really it's dominoes, because you do have a couple of guys who are in positions that are not natural positions.
Yeah.
Granted, I think the more and more I watch him in that role, I think that Gressel is probably better suited for the right wing than he is to play center mid. So, but again, Tito is much more valuable at this rate on the right wing.
Right.
And you need Gressel to fit in that center mid. So what happens? I mean, Remedi has a good couple showings. I mean, come Saturday against Montreal. It's Saturday, right? Yeah. Come Saturday against Montreal.
Saturday at 7.
Remedi has a good game. What happens? Right. I mean, does that just, let's say he outplays Gressel or outplays Lorenowitz in that role. I mean, what happens? I mean,
I think you need to take
how many games or how many times does Remedi have to get out there and
you've got to
play well?
I think it goes back to what we were just talking about, is that you need to take into account the situation at hand. And if it's a team that's been more defensive or more offensive, that's when you make that decision. It needs to be a player that you can make that decision at game time rather than necessarily one size fits all.
Yeah.
Or at least the week of, rather.
So now
if you know that you're going against a Red Bulls team, for example, you know you're going to need a more defensive player.
So Greg says end of season for Garza at best, and then September for Nagbe.
Okay. So September for Nagbe that's great. So yeah, I think Garza's out this season, and Nagbe, maybe we get him back in playoffs at best. If he's back in September.
I love Greg Garza to death. What happens? That's 2 seasons in a row, and this season was even earlier. And this is not the chronic injury that he had last year or the years prior whenever he was at Tijuana.
And how old is he? 26?
26, 27, something like that.
I think he's still valuable enough to keep on. I don't think you cut him loose. Because how old's McCann? Isn't McCann older? Isn't he 28?
No, McCann's, I think, 30, 31, something like that. He's been playing for a little while.
Yeah.
I may be wrong, but he's he's 31 years old.
Yeah, because, I mean, you can't let him go and then quote the depth that you have with McCann. I think Ambrose is a better argument for your depth at that position, more so than McCann. McCann's a great depth for this season, but another 1 year, 2 years maybe out of McCann. I don't see him playing for 3 or 4. And so to that point, you've seen so much out of Ambrose this year. If you got a healthy version next year, does that free up a roster spot with McCann? As much as I hate to say it, what's the better save there, Ambrose or McCann? In my opinion, 6 or 27.
He's 24. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's back. Yeah.
You got that baby face, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah,
the other point,
I think Ambrose, as much as he showed out this season, is the better substitution. This is a conversation much better suited for the end of the year.
Yeah, Kevin Brown saying Ambrose no international spot.
Yeah, exactly.
McCann doesn't take an international spot.
Oh, that's
either
right. He got a green card. That's right.
Yeah. The other thing you got to consider, there's a 16-year-old kid. Playing
I ain't got to consider it. I'm ready for it. It's Dan that needs to consider it.
We need you, me, Kevin Brown. We got to get hashtag Bello Boys trending.
King George.
Yeah, Bellows Boys is got to be a movement next year. It's crazy. Maybe it's just because we didn't see Carlton and Goslin playing in USL last year, but to see, some of the performances that George Bello had this season.
Yeah,
he looks the most ready at the youngest age. Yeah. And it's a role that is notoriously hard to fill in world soccer.
Right.
No matter what league you're playing in, a good left back is really hard to come by.
You don't know who Bello is, Elliot Beaven? Kunga squad. I'm about that life too.
Kunga squad, yes.
I didn't know that Bello was injured, Brittany.
Yeah, Kunga's playing in the homegrown game. Is that right? He and
Carlton.
He and Carlton are playing in the homegrown game.
But yeah, I think we'll have this whole conversation at the end of the season. But yeah, with the injuries and everything, we've got so much depth and so many options looking at the lineup. So with that said, any other points about the DC United game? For all intents and purposes, that series has been completely flipped on its head this season versus last year.
I appear it was only, and you guys can, again, go follow Jay Riddle and or Unrelegated, or go listen to Unrelegated to hear about the rant with the supporters section wearing Rooney Man U jerseys and singing "Glory, Glory, Man United." Shame on you. Shame on you. Not only was it our opponent, he looked bad.
He looked real bad.
And I want to say I'll eat crow because I thought he was going to be a good signing for them. And
speaking of eating crow, I'm glad you mentioned this. Still a playoff team?
Yes.
No.
14 of their last 18 games are at home.
9 of the last 18 are against the top 3 players in the East.
I don't care. Honestly, I still think you saw New England lose again. New England lost to Red Bulls.
But look at how much they've got to climb out.
You saw Columbus, Will Trapp, motherfucking hero.
Oh my God, another good point that Unrelegated made. That Unrelegated made through Jimmy Vance of 92.9 The Game, which was that the goal of the year last year was scored by Tito against Orlando on July 21st. This year, scored on July 21st against Orlando by Will Trapp. Potentially goal of the year.
Yeah. Is awesome. As Kevin Gorham says, Trap is always welcome in the trap. But I think that Columbus most likely is going to end up taking either the 4 or the 5 spot.
Hold on.
You pulling up the standings?
I'm just seeing how far they got to climb.
Because it's Atlanta, New York City, New York Red Bulls.
It's not just about that. Their points.
How far do they have to climb? They have 5 games in hand. If they win 5 of those games at home, they're a playoff team right now.
Okay, but they still need 14 points right now to get into. They need 14 points to get into a playoff spot as it stands currently. And I don't know how those wins stack up because that would just tie Montreal and New England.
One contingency, and I think Kevin Brown brings this up too. He says maybe if they play Rooney in midfield, he can't strike anymore. Here's the contingency. They need to lean more on Darren Maddox than they do on Wayne Rooney up front. And I think that Wayne Rooney, as much money as they spent on him, obviously they won their first game. Granted, it was against a sliding Vancouver team. They had Darren Maddox up front. They had Wayne Rooney come in 50, 60 minutes, something like that, and they ended up winning 3-1. And I think that when you look at that front 5, it's a very unlikable. Did you know? What did you think about that? DC playing essentially a 4-1-4.
Yeah, I mean,
or a 4-1-5. Sorry.
well, that was what we talked about last week, is that it was all going to be one in the midfield. I think that Atlanta did a good job of making sure that that was held up really well. And I think that's why the substitution for Remedi was so critical. It's because a team that was pushing so far offensively, it stretched so far outside of the midfield. It was up to Atlanta to dictate the pace of the game centrally. And
Yeah,
they managed to do that.
But that said, that front five, along with Chris Durkin, who didn't have a great game, I think that they have a great chance of pushing forward. Can you give me their schedule?
Yes.
Can you give me their? I still think. What do you guys say in the trap? Am I crazy for saying that DC United is going to be a team that supplants either New England or who's in sixth right now?
Montreal. No, New England's in sixth. Montreal's in fifth. Okay. So they have, on a short week, they've got Red Bulls this week.
Where at? Audi Field? At home?
Yeah, at home. So they come back home, short week against New York Red Bulls, who I think is the best team in the East. I'm going to say it. Maybe close second. Then because this is the other thing you got to think about. While I will concede to your point that they have, 9 of their last 19 at home. What did you say? 8 of their last
14 of their last 18 games are at home.
14 of their last 18.
Remember, they have 5 games in hand on us.
I get that. But do you realize what that means as far as the timeline that they have for the games in hand that they have on us? Which means that everything gets much more compressed, that their weeks get shorter and shorter. And do you have a team that you think is sustainable enough and healthy enough based on what you saw against Atlanta, against knowing that you're going to have to play Atlanta, regardless of being at home? If you've got 3-4 weeks that you have 2 and 3 games in a week to play back-to-back games against Atlanta, then Red Bulls, or Red Bulls and then NYC, on down the line. So, and that's what starts to happen this week, where yes, they're at home for one of those home games, but it's on a short week against the Red Bulls. Then they have Colorado on the road, and then back at home, another short week here. Oh, no, this is actually regular week against Montreal. Then they have Orlando, Portland, who's a good team.
At home in DC?
No, that one's on the road.
Okay.
And then on the road against to New England, and then back home against Red Bulls, then on the road to Philadelphia, on the road against Atlanta, at home against NYCFC, on the road to Minnesota, on the road against Red Bulls. Am I reading this? I think I'm going backwards. I think I've got these mixed up. I'm sorry. Nonetheless, the short weeks and the no, I had it right because they were on the no. I definitely had it wrong. I'm so sorry.
You had one job.
At home against Red Bulls, at home against Colorado, on the road against Montreal.
That's 3 points. You said on the road against Montreal. That's
yes.
Montreal has a bad defensive team.
At home
DC's
against
some of the best attacking options in the league.
At home against Orlando, at home against Portland, at home against New England, on the road against Red Bulls, at home against Philly, at home against Atlanta, on the road against NYC, at home against Minnesota, at home against Red Bulls, at home against Montreal, at home against Chicago, at home against Dallas, at home against Toronto, at home against NYC, on the road against Chicago. Again, some of these weeks, though, where...
How many of these wins that they can get at home are they chopping the teams that are in front of them? New England, another team that's vying with them. Chicago, 2 of those games against Montreal. My thing is, I think they're built to
I think on paper... I think I agree with you on paper that they should, but if that's taking into account that they're not having to play
think about how
2
well
and
we
3
did.
games in a week, and I don't think that team is built to do that.
We weren't really built for it last year either,
and we didn't do it that regularly last year.
Towards the end of the season,
we dropped several stretches of games against inferior opponents that we should have beaten.
Okay, I don't know. I just think that the last few spots, I don't trust Montreal or New England to hold on to those spots.
But I get that. But at the same time, they've got to somehow overtake those teams by winning games. And their margin for error is so little right now. And there's a big mentality that's going to go into that. And then you've also got to look at teams you look at Toronto as well, who's just trying to find some way to come back and claw back because they're just as viable a team to come back and get into a playoff position.
Toronto at this point, they don't have enough time. I don't think.
I think the road is really tough for both of them, and I don't know that either one of those teams are going to make it. And I'm less convinced by DC because of what they've got to do on paper. Yes, I think that they're better than the opponents that they have to play. However, because of the timeline, the frequency of the games, the increased difficulty of the other opponents that they have to play, which is going to put a wear and tear on their players on those short weeks because they're going to have to play that much harder to compete. I just don't see it happening.
Okay. I don't know. Even Rooney aside, I really like their attack. I think that they have guys that can.
What's everybody in the trap saying right now?
I think they're ending up coming around to what you're saying. So, yeah, I mean, DC does have 5 games in hand on New England. New England's kind of faltering, but anyway,
yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough, man.
We'll stick a pin in it for now, I guess. I mean,
and it's the thing is, we're not going to know until the last maybe 3 weeks of the season before we really see how these things shake out, because they do have such if they can somehow steal a couple of those games against NYC, Red Bulls, and us.
I honestly think they can probably steal a point against
maybe
Red
against
Bulls.
Dallas.
Yeah, I think they steal a point against Red Bulls this week.
We'll see.
Or 2 points, I guess. I think they take a point away from that game at home.
Look, I want nothing more than for DC to succeed against the Red Bulls and NYC, if that means that we're still getting our last win against them and it keeps NYC or Red Bulls from jumping us. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Realistically, I don't know if it's going to happen, though.
Yeah. Stuck to 2011 saying Rooney was a waste of 16 million. DC is stupid. I agree with you mostly because of the fact that attack wasn't what they needed. To everybody's point in the trap, their defense is going to let them down. I think that they could have spent that money wiser on defense when they have, spicy waters making me burpy. The attack that they have between Maddox and Acosta and Areola and who else is on there? Stieber. And I think that they're in Assad, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, they're a good team. I'm not taking anything away from that. I think it's just too little too late. Next year, we'll see.
All right.
So looking forward to our remaining schedule, most importantly, our remaining schedule that starts this week against Montreal on the road, Saturday at 7:00. We expect to see Carlton in the lineup.
Is it? I feel like it's Sunday. 29th?
I'm pretty sure it's Saturday, dude.
You're right. Yeah. It's the 28th.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Saturday.
I think this is, I don't know. I'm terrible with numbers and schedules, and as everybody knows, calendars are my worst enemy.
Saturday. Trapper's saying it.
Yeah. Okay. If you guys look at who scored, it does say kickoff 0-0, so it must be a GMT thing. Who scored must be on GMT, so that's Sunday.
So, Carlton, absolutely getting the start. Any other lineup changes that you expect to see? You think we still maintain the 4-back? Seems to be pretty consistent. Seems like
I don't think we see any lineup changes
stuck into that formation at least. I think not just lineup, but formation even.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any changes from Saturday. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to not do that.
What's your thought? So this is one of the things that Atlanta's struggled to do, is to get back-to-back wins after coming off of a loss. What do you think?
No, I think we're going to go up there and we're going to win. I think the main reason we didn't win last year is that silly LGP red card that we got.
Yeah.
And then Jackson Hamill coming in and being some crazy savior for them. When you look at their defense, I just wanted to pull this up real quick. Their defense is among the worst in MLS.
So I don't know what that is, Kevin Brown. Is it because he's gone or because he's suspended or what? He said Montreal's without their coach on the sidelines. Do you know what happened with that?
No, but they have the 6th or 7th worst defense in the league. I don't know. No, I'm not sure what happened.
He's suspended.
Kevin
said he's suspended.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah. But yeah, they're among the worst defenses in the league in terms of goals allowed. We're obviously, I think we're tops, right, in goals scored. So
yeah,
I mean, it's a recipe for success.
That's what worries me. I get more worried whenever the odds are ever in our favor, is that whenever there's a game that on paper looks like we should dominate, I always get puckered. So
we put 4 in on them last time at home. Granted, that was at home. They've been playing a lot better since then, right? They've found their way into a playoff position at this point.
Yeah.
Even 2 spots into a playoff position.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
They're right there on the cusp, though, man. I mean, they know it. That they've got more to play for, I think, right now than we do.
Keith Filer saying Ambrose back in.
Yeah, I saw that.
Over McCann.
I don't know about that.
Oh, yes.
You nailed it, Kevin.
Yeah, no truer words. Kevin's getting closer to Clemson fandom the closer we get to college football.
That's
so
it.
The whole quote unquote, we're going to lose.
No, I start out the week, we're going to win. And then I progressively get closer to kickoffs. Like, no, definitely going to lose.
Yeah, I'm going to have to turn off my notifications come September, whenever football season kicks off.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Specifically.
Yeah, I'm thinking 1-1.
Okay. I say we go another 3-1 or 4-1. I'll go 3-1 up there. I think
who's scoring all that?
I think Joseph bags a brace. I think you get Tito with another goal, or with a goal, and then we get to play that video of Norma singing the Tito song. So one of my favorite things.
It is great.
One of my favorite things. You guys will know what we're talking about the next time Tito Villalba scores.
Oh, Elliot Beaven brings up a good point. Atlanta is the best road team this season with a win, 2-0 Atlanta.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, I'm thinking a draw 1-1. I'm gonna stay with it.
You're gonna stay with it?
Yeah.
I think 3-1.
Okay, great. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, listening, hanging out with us in the trap. If you found us on iTunes, be sure to leave a review and or a rating. Leave a review to hear it read out on the show. If you found us on YouTube, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the little bell to get a notification so that you can hang out in the trap with us each and every week whenever you record. And maybe Dan will join us again one week. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. We did have a question, Brian, asking about an all-star game party, if anybody's going. I will be I don't think I'll be able to go do anything personal there.
Oh my God.
I can't. Anyway, I will not be available.
Good shout, Brian. So we do have an announcement, which you will hear first here. We have an event happening for All-Star Week next week. Next Monday night at the 5 Points MARTA station at the Stadium Soccer, which Soccer in the Streets has their field there. We are putting together a who's who pickup group of content providers for both Atlanta United and the MLS as a whole, which we will be doing to try to coincide with some of the other events that are taking place in the city. I think Men in Blazers has their event taking place. Ours will be from 8:30 until the lights go off.
Yeah, Men in Blazers they're at the Tabernacle from 7 to 8.
Yeah, so we'll start at 8:30. More details will come out, but the goal is to have a couple of teams comprised of all the faces and voices you know and love, from Tim and myself, Jay and Kelly, the people over at Mouths of the South with Eric and Josh, and who else is AJ is going to be out there from Atlanta United Fan TV. Jason will be out there. Everybody that you know and love that you saw, whether it was on the Soccer in the Streets Champions League event, will be recording and playing for your listening and viewing pleasure. Try to at least broadcast the game as we play as well, which will be hilarity to ensue. I think Extra Time Radio people will be out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew Wiebe, Matt Doyle, Bobby Warshaw, who's probably going to school all of us. I think he was a college player.
Yeah, so it should be a lot of fun. So we'll get details to you guys, but be sure to stay tuned for that, whichever way the wind.
Who wants to see me Matt Doyle? That's the question.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to stop myself from just one, even though we'll be playing on the same team, just taking on Jay in a one-on-one. I just just slide tackle Jay.
I'm going to score the most beautiful own goal. I'm going to yell Yoga Benito up there.
It should be great. I don't think Alexi Lawless is going to be out there. But yeah, it'll be a great time. We'll make sure that everybody finds out the details. We're still trying to figure out how it'll be open to the public, who, what, when, where, and why. But yeah, be sure to stay tuned however you found us.
Shit. Bobby Warshaw played for FC Dallas.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
So yeah, be sure to check that out. That's next Monday night. So we got about a week that we're still trying to figure out the details on our end as well. So if you're on YouTube, it's even more imperative that you hit that subscribe and bell notification so you can watch it live. If not, we'll put up the audio, whatever it may be, on
You're unraveling.
You can find Dan at DNJMS. Tim, what about you?
You can find me at Tim Herb.
Find me as well at The Architect. It's at _ARC for 1TECT. Collectively at Home Before Dark. That's before spelled B and the number 4. Check out gethomebeforedark.com. All the / for all your shopping, home improvement.
We'll have shirts in the shop soon.
Fantasy Prediction League and everything else in between. Thank you guys.
Scarves are coming.
Yeah, we keep saying that.
At some point.
We've got a laundry list of things to do. So we will get to it as soon as we can.
All right.
Until then, as always, be home before dark.